Before we get started, let's start with some intros. So I'm gonna give you a quick intro of who I am in case you don't know me already, and then Helene is gonna introduce herself, and then we're gonna get straight into business models since we waited already 10 minutes, right? So my name is Gianluca Mauro. If you don't know me, I am the founder of AI Academy and of this new startup called Epiphany. And I've been working in the AI industry for 10 years. I started off as a technical consultant. I started in Silicon Valley. Then, when I came back to Europe, I started working for some of the biggest companies in the world, companies like Procter and Gamble, Merck, the European Union, and things like this, to build AI projects. So I was coding and being a nerd and playing with data and building AI stuff. So yes, Gregory is saying that he had issues with audio streams. You should refresh. If you refresh, probably is gonna start working. I hope. Let us know. You may miss a few seconds. I see somebody who says AS says Helene is Turkish. I guess yes, she is. She will introduce herself in a second. Uh, so basically, we that's what I did. I built AI projects for people, and then a few years ago, I decided to focus fully on education, and so help people like you and like people all over the world mostly, uh, not from other planets, just from this planet, understand how is AI, how we can use it. And that's about it. I want to keep it short. So Helen, why don't you say who you are and then we get straight into business models.
Of course, perfect. Well, people already guessed where I'm from. So I'm Helin from Turkey. And I'm actually one of the first students of AI Academy. So I started AI, learning about AI at AI Academy, taking one of the courses from Gianluca. And I have a background in international relations, but thanks to that course, I decided to build a career in AI education. And after working in several startups in Switzerland, helping companies understand how they can start training their employees on this technology, I decided to come back to where I started. So now I collaborate with Gianluca. I lead partnerships at AI Academy. And I'm really, really curious to understand how this technology will change our life. So you can hear me speak about it also in our podcast called I'm Not a Robot. Very briefly.
Amazing, amazing. So let's get started immediately. In what are we going to talk about today? So I want to spend, well, let's see. Now we're a bit in late, so maybe we're going to spend half an hour trying to understand what are the business models related to AI. What does it mean? I mostly want to talk about how can you monetize AI products or AI features. So let's say that you're a freelancer who wants to develop a new AI product. Or maybe it's something you want to sell. So you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to build a company. Or let's say you work for a company and you do innovation, or you're interested in creating new things, new products, new features maybe, and you want to know how do you make money with it basically. So how do you bring them to market and how do you price them, how do you monetize them? We wanted to talk about this today because, and first of all, I found it very interesting, but also AI business models are a little bit different from normal software business models. And for a few different reasons. The main reasons why they're different is because from the cost perspective, AI costs quite a bit to run. We're going to talk about how this is changing, how the price to run AI is changing with time. But AI is not a cheap technology to run compared to like a normal server. Okay, so if you have a normal, let's say, CRM, a customer relationship management tool, you have your server costs, your database costs, and all of that. But if you have an AI powered CRM, you also have the costs related to the AI, and these costs are high. So that's the first difference with normal software, the fact that costs are different when you use AI. But there's also another aspect of this, which is a bit more nuanced, which is that the kind of value that you give people when you use AI in your product can change, can differ. And that's something that's a bit subtle, but I want to talk to you about it because I think it's the most interesting thing. So that's what we're going to talk about for half an hour. And at the end, I will talk about a new edition of one of our programs that we are releasing. So, I don't like, as I always say this, I don't like webinars that feel like you're just trying to sell stuff. So I'm going to try to sell you stuff for the past 3 minutes, the last 3 minutes, but I'm going to spend at least half an hour talking about content. So what I'm going to do now is I want to share my screen because I have some slides. I wanted to keep this as a very informal kind of thing. But I wanted to get started with some slides to bring in a case study. Okay, so this case study is about a company called Jasper. If you don't know what Jasper does, it's quite interesting. It's a company that does AI for content generation. Basically, if you have a marketing team, you can use Jasper to create marketing copy, to create Facebook ads, and all that sort of stuff. So let's go through the story of this company really quickly. So it got started in 2021 and it had a different name. It was called Conversion.ai. So you can understand it was a company founded by marketers, by marketing nerds. And January 2021 was very early. For context, ChatGPT is going to come out in November 2022. So in 2021, there was GPT-3. It was the technology before ChatGPT. It was pretty bad, but nobody was used to this magic experience of getting, content being generating automatically on a website. It was just pretty crazy, right? So it was very, 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 very early on. All right, so let's look at the company as the company here. So these guys reached $3.6 million in 4 days in revenue, in our recurring revenue. So it basically exploded, right? So they started making a lot of money because, again, this product was pretty magic. Imagine in a world before ChatGPT, the fact that you could automatically generate content, Instagram ads, was pretty wild. They reached $45 million in ARR within 2 years, and people loved it so much they started tattooing their logo on their body, which I find pretty wild, right? I mean, think about this. How much do you need to like a marketing product to tattoo the logo on your body? You need to like it a lot. And I think this matters. It's a silly story, but I think it's really fun to think about it. Then they raised $125 million at a $1.5 billion valuation, which is kind of crazy as well. And then ChatGPT came out. So what I want to show you now is how they were pitching the product and their pricing structure and how this changed with time. And I found it super interesting. So this was the first landing page. And notice how the value proposition that they were putting out there and going to the market with was let Jarvis write your Facebook ads, because their name changed a couple of times. Now it's called Jasper. It was called Conversion.ai, and then they switched to Jarvis. But then obviously Disney wanted to sue them, and so they went from Jarvis to Jasper. All right. But the value proposition here, and it's important to talk about the value proposition because that's how you price something. That's how you should price something. You should think about what's the value that I give people and how can you give attach a cost, a price to that, right? So the first value they were giving was, well, Jarvis is just going to create your Facebook ads. That's it. That's what it does. Then it evolved a little bit and it became the future of writing marketing copy. And they had this thing, artificial intelligence trained to write original and creative content. So it was all about AI writes stuff for you, pretty much. And look, they had all these things that we're talking about. Create general original content that ranks for search engine optimization. You can be super fast. Facebook ads, blah blah blah. That's it. It's this AI content co-pilot. So their pricing was pretty interesting. You could pay either $29 a month and you had 20,000 words of generation. It's not that much, all right? 20,000 words is, gosh, how many pages could it be? Could be like something like 50 pages, I think. I don't know, but something like that. For $29 a month, or you could go unlimited for $109, all right? Let's put this into perspective. This was June 2021. I mean, ChatGPT is a limited generation for $20 a month, and it does a lot of different things, not just marketing, right? So let's put that into perspective, okay? All right, so let's see how it evolved now. This was the first value proposition and first pricing. So then they started saying, create amazing blog posts 10 times faster with AI. So they kept this idea of, hey, we write content for you. The value proposition is that you're going to be faster, okay? Which is interesting because basically, when they start attaching a price, then you mentally start thinking, well, how much is my time worth? If I'm paid 100 euros an hour and you make me 2 times faster, well, then I can finish my work in 4 hours instead of 8. So 400 euros for 1 day of usage, suddenly, it becomes something that makes sense. And they started to sort of like fine tune a little bit their messaging to not only, hey, we generate content, but hey, we generate content that is on brand. And it's for everything that you create. You see how they're becoming a little bit more niche? This is 2023. So now it's when they have to differentiate from ChatGPT. ChatGPT is out already. So they start to differentiate themselves, saying we're not just content creation, we are on brand content creation. Okay, which is cooler. Okay, therefore you should give us more money than ChatGPT. Okay, so that's what they talk about. Never lose your voice, never lose your blah 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 blah. Okay, so they keep evolving. Okay, they keep adding new features. They keep adding new things. So this is how they change their value proposition. And again, soon I'm gonna stop talking about landing pages and I'm gonna start trying to abstract some information from this. But it's interesting to see how they evolved with time. So they went from not just faster, actually better. Think about this. We're talking about business models today, right? If I tell you, hey, I create content for you, it's one story. If I tell you I am faster than you could do, well, then mentally you start saying, well, if I pay this amount of money, but I save this amount of time, that's my return on investment on this tool. But if you tell me I'm gonna make your entire marketing better, what's the return on investment on this tool? If I'm Coca-Cola and you improve my marketing by 1%, that's hundreds of millions of dollars. So suddenly paying for this tool is different. So you see how they're tying their value to the quality of the output rather than AI just being, something that automates your process. Another interesting thing is, look how many things they added. Company intelligence, which means that, all your content is in one place, content acceleration, analytics and insights. Look at this. You can have company strategy, brand and product positioning. You see how this is suddenly not just about AI, it's about a bunch of different things. There was another thing. Yeah, here we go. This one was interesting. Project management features. You see how they extended outside of just AI to build an entire platform. They had more than just AI. And the reason why they had to do it is because if you think about it, now ChatGPT is out. Like this landing page is from 2024, I think. So by this time, by the time that they had to push this landing page, people already knew about ChatGPT. Everybody, knew that they could get AI content generation for free, because ChatGPT free version, you can still do a lot of stuff, right? So see how they had to change their product, change their positioning, change their value proposition to adapt to a world in which people are used to AI being free, basically. Now let's see the pricing. This is how they price their system. They have this creator plan. Let's start from the cheapest one. Which has one seat, one brand voice, access to SEO mode, use AI everywhere with browser extension. Do you see any limit to how much you can use it? No, not anymore. And if you think about it, just a couple of years before, they were priced at $29. Let me just go back to the old pricing. This was a couple of years before. They were priced at $29 a month for 20,000 words, which again, is not that much. Their unlimited plan was $109. So think about how much they had to cut their cut their pricing. Then they have a more expensive tier, which adds, if you look at this, adds stuff like instant campaigns, which I don't know what it is, collaboration and user management, which again is not an AI feature. They add 3 brand voices, which again, it's just, some more customization. And then they have Jasper art, which is the image creation. Okay, and then they have the business pricing, which is, let's talk. Basically, this means this is a lot of money. Okay, this means just like really a lot of money. I don't know how much, but a lot of money. All right. So, what did I want to? The reason why I love starting with this is because it gives us an idea of how much AI business models have changed with time. Again, in just 2 years, we had to go from something where suddenly, you had a very clear limit how much you could use it, 20,000 words. And then you had to, in 2 years, you went from this to something entirely different. Then not only you had to change the way that you price your systems, but you also have to change the value that you promise to your customers. From, hey, you're going to be able to generate random text to, hey, you're going to improve your entire marketing using our product. From collaboration to generation, all of that. All right? So, I'm back. Let's stop sharing those slides. The interesting thing here to me is that you need to take into account, like it's clear to me that in the beginning of their journey, they were much more worried about their costs. And this is how we started, We started saying, hey, AI has different costs compared to normal software. And at the beginning, you could see from their pricing that they were really scared about it, because they had to put a very clear limit. And then they had this crazy price of $109 to make sure that they will still make money from when you told people you can go unlimited. So that's one of the things that we need to take into account. Helin, do you remember in the beginning of, when was it? Yeah, I mean, the beginning of 2023, when there were all these tools and products that were adding AI features, and all of them had to come up with a whole new pricing system.
Yeah, I remember. Also, I love that you started with this example, because something that I noticed while you were telling the story of Jasper in general is they also followed the changing needs really well, because we're speaking about business models, we're speaking about pricing, but we're actually speaking about how the needs of people working in marketing changed as well. It went from, I need this amount of words so that I can create a copy for this website, to, okay, I need to have less miscommunications, I need to make sure that the clarity increases. So I think they did a great job in following that, and that's something we witnessed in the beginning of 2023 as well. I think companies were still trying to understand how the needs are changing.
100%. And I think what was interesting at the time was that AI, do you remember that like Miro or Figma or whatever, basically pick any freaking SaaS product, was releasing their AI version. And you remember how their pricing was in the beginning? They always had, hey, you want to pay for Miro? Add 10 euros and you have Miro AI. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that with Notion really clearly as well. When Notion AI was out, I was really excited about that. It's true.
Yes.
AI itself was an added value already, and it was enough to change the pricing. Now I feel like the situation is a bit more different.
But it was usually an extension. Like it was usually something that you could basically just add a little bit more and then get AI features on top. Which, by the way, is something that a lot of companies are still doing. I find I find Notion actually to be a really good example. Like, look at this. I just found this real quick. This is the Notion pricing. Okay, 0 or 9 euros per seat per month, and then they have the business, and then they have this little thing. Add Notion AI. Look what happens to the numbers. Ta-da! Basically add a bunch of money, like 7.50 euros to all these plans. So there's a lot of companies that are still doing this, where basically their business model for AI is you take the existing pricing, you take the existing business model, and you just add AI as a feature on top. To me, I'm about to introduce a new terminology. Okay, this to me we could call it non-AI native businesses. Okay. These are non-AI native businesses. So businesses that started before AI, and then they added AI on top, and they were like, oh shit, AI costs a lot of money to run. Well, if we add AI, we need to ask for more money. So put yourself in the Notion shoes, okay? Guys, this is really interesting. I find it really cool. So you have your normal pricing right here, and then you say, oh, cool. If we add AI to our product would be so amazing, because whatever, for whatever reason. So but AI costs money, so you have two options. Either you increase the price of your product, or you have to create another version of your product with AI that costs more money. right? So that's the interesting thing. Like a lot of non-AI native businesses had to, the business model they had to pick for AI was create a new AI version of your product and ask you for more money if you want that. No?
Yeah. Actually, something to clarify. I think since you introduced a new terminology, one of the best ways to introduce a new term is also to say what it's not about. So speaking about AI native companies, since when do we have AI native companies? What are they?
But since 2 or 3 years, like for instance,
Okay.
Jasper, there is no Jasper without AI, you know? Or like my company, Epiphany, you cannot buy it without AI because it's an AI product. It's the only thing it does. You know? Like,
In this case, Jasper still existed before Gen AI, right?
no, it existed because of GenAI. It existed before ChatGPT, but it
Okay.
existed with GPT-3,
Yeah.
which is still a GenAI tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does now.
It's like, imagine, ChatGPT without AI. What is it? It doesn't make sense. So ChatGPT is a great example of like, it's the example of a Gen AI product. Period. Like it's the Gen AI product if you think about it. And every product pre Gen AI, pre ChatGPT had to create this weird like add AI on top kind of business model, right?
Yeah, just sprinkle it on top of whatever that was already there.
Exactly. Sprinkle it on top of whatever you have. And to me, that's a problem also from a product perspective. Like a lot of products feel like it was not designed for AI, and then you sprinkle it on top and it feels weird. Like Notion AI for me feels a bit odd in some cases. I don't like it that much. But love Notion, don't love Notion AI. Anyway, that's the same thing that Microsoft did, Copilot. Microsoft Copilot, we work with a lot of big companies who have, I don't know, maybe even 10,000 Copilot licenses or stuff like this. So what Microsoft does is that they sell you their AI their Office plan, which costs a lot of money, whatever that is. I don't even know how much it costs, but like PowerPoint and SharePoint, Teams, and all that stuff. And then they say if you want to have Copilot, it's just $20 a month on top per user, right? So it's more or less the same business model. It's like AI becomes an upsell to your existing product. So that's the message for non-AI native, non-Gen AI native companies. AI becomes an upsell. That's the business model that a lot of companies have. Okay. And obviously, like then it depends on how much it costs to run AI. What do I mean? Well, I mean, we can, I opened up the pricing page of OpenAI. Well, did I open it up? Yes, I opened it up, but I have the wrong page. Here we go. So let's look at this. Share my screen. Here we go. ChatGPT pricing. So they have their own, this is the ChatGPT normal pricing, right? So you know that it costs, you have a free version, and then you have a plus version for $20 a month, and then you have the pro version with $200 a month, and then you have the team version, blah, 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 and then the enterprise, which by the way, this costs $60 a month because we have customers who told us how much it costs. You can contact sales, but it's $60 a month, right? Or euros, depending where you are. All right, cool. So this is the ChatGPT thing. But what is important is that basically every company who has, not every, most companies who have AI integrated in the product, they do it by using an API. What is an API? Is the technology that allows you to integrate OpenAI's technology within your product. And if you look for OpenAI API pricing, you can understand how this works. So you pay per usage. You pay specifically per token. A token it doesn't really matter what it is. You can imagine like a word. It's not technically like a word because also like comma space is one token. It's how AI parses text that has been given to. So you can see the difference between $15 per input token, and it doesn't matter what cached input tokens is. We can go more in detail at some point. Let's just understand more or less the cost structure. And O3 mini costs basically less than a tenth of this. All right. And if you go for GPT-4o, it costs even less. So we go from, no, sorry, it costs a little bit more. So O3 mini is $1.10 per input and $2.50 per million token in input. GPT-4o mini is dead cheap. It's crazy cheap. All right. But now you remember that Jasper asked for more money for the plan with the images generation. And that's because the image generation, hold on, where are you? It's not on this page. Anyway, the image generation with DALL-E costs a lot of money. It's really expensive.
I think it was there. At the end of the page, the last question. There you go.
No, this is for images and input, no images as output. But I can just look for it. DALL-E API pricing. Let's see. DALL-E API pricing. It's on pricing. No, it's not true. Anyway, guys, you have to trust me. It costs a lot of money. All right. It really costs a lot of money. The interesting thing is Sam Altman said that they are losing money on the API OpenAI Pro subscription, which costs $200 a month. And that's because of usage. Again, this is the risk that you have. The risk that you have is, since AI is expensive, if people use it more than you expected, you might end up losing money on your product, which, might not be a great thing, but it could actually be fine. Fun fact, one of the most successful AI products out there is GitHub Copilot. It's a tool that helps developers write code faster. And I know from an interview to one of their product managers that at the beginning, the first year or so, they were losing a lot of money because people were using it more than they expected. But for them, it was not an issue because what they really wanted was to gain market share. And they knew that AI was going to become cheaper, which leads me to probably the most important thing that you guys need to think about. AI is the fastest depreciating asset in history. The cost of OpenAI's API went down something like 95% in like a year and a half, 2 years. 95%. This is the market leader. It's insane. So this is why we start to see companies like Jasper who are more comfortable offering unlimited plans for $39 a month, because the cost has gone down so much that now as a company, you're a bit more comfortable having those sort of, having basically, being more generous to how much people can use your product, right? Isn't it interesting, Helin? Like you've seen a lot of unlimited use plans, right? Notion was unlimited. Like Notion, you pay €7.50 more per month, and then you can go as much as you want, no?
Exactly. Super interesting. Also makes me curious how, since AI gets cheaper and cheaper, I think it gets even more important and interesting to understand what is going to be the business model that helps businesses profit. Because yes, AI is cool, it's great, new features every day, but I think that's one of the topics that we get a lot of questions about, right?
Yeah, totally. So one thing that I keep saying is that we're gonna soon stop talking about AI products, and we're gonna start talking about products. That's it, right? Because products are gonna have AI. That's it. It's obvious that a product is AI powered, in the future. It's like if you say, "Hey, I have a phone app." No, you have an app. Like right now, there is no point in saying I have a mobile app, But back in the days, like 10 years ago, you had to say I have a mobile app because people were just not used to that. It was a fairly new thing, Or I have a cloud software as a service. Obviously, it's cloud. Like everybody uses the cloud now. At some point, we're gonna stop talking about AI products.
Well, since that's the case, maybe a question for you. I think an AI business model that is profiting, it's not going to come from finding the right pricing, right?
Yeah.
So where's it going to come from?
I think it's finding, there's a few different things. Obviously, you also need to find the right pricing. By the way, just before we get into this rabbit hole, because we're gonna there's a lot of interesting things to say here. Since we started 10 minutes late, we're probably also going to end 10 minutes late. So, guys, I hope that's fine for you. We're going to stay and talk about this for a little bit longer. So, I think all the 10 minutes, and then we're going to tell you about the new edition of our program. Just for everybody to know, we're going to end a little bit later. And by the way, bring in questions if you want us to answer, because we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A in a little bit. Back to your question. So, you were saying... the success is not going to be in finding the right pricing. I think partially it is, because I mean, obviously, if your cost is higher than your revenues, you're never going to make money, unless again your bet is that the cost is going to go down. We had a student 1 year ago, yeah, who he wanted to build this product, and he made his math that basically every time that he was building a tool for doctors, and he found out that his costs were going to be something like 30 euros a month, because the doctors were going to use it for every patient. It was going to be a lot of usage, and he was like, I can't charge more than 30 euros a month. 30 euros a month is what people want to pay, and my cost is 30 euros a month, so there is no business here. Does that make sense? So basically, he saw that the cost was as much as his revenues. And I told him, don't stress too much about it, because the cost is going down so much that I'm sure in 1 year, your cost is going to go down. And if you can still charge 30 euros a month, well, then you're going to have a business. And in fact, that's what happened. The cost of the API was cut by, I think, 50% within a few months that we were after the training. And so he already had a 50% margin by doing nothing. By waiting a few months. So basically, the pricing is something that is important, but I wouldn't be that stressed about the cost of AI, because again, it's going down like crazy. It's never going to go to, as much as running a simple database, but it will be, I always say AI will be free. I mean, it will be a marginal cost. But now, what you were saying is, that's not the main thing. I think you're right. I think the most interesting thing that we need to think about is different pricing models. For instance, let's say I am a lawyer, okay? And I bill 200 euros an hour, okay? Actually, let's say 100 euros an hour, just to make, math easy. Very cheap lawyer. So 100 euros an hour. Cool. And let's say that I build an AI system that allows people to access my AI lawyer and replace a human lawyer. Just for the sake of this example, okay? I'm not saying it's possible. I'm not saying we should do it. Just for the, for the example. Well, then I could price my tool at 50 euros per, law service, and that's it. So instead of paying per month, you can pay per service. That is, to me, something very interesting. AI right now is competing a lot with service providers. So Jasper competes with a marketing agency. It doesn't compete with, like, I don't know, HubSpot or a CRM or, some of those content, like social media marketing tools. It competes with a marketing agency. So you might start thinking, well, can I price based on outcome? Can I price like a marketing agency will price? Marketing agencies will price per project or something like this, Deep research from OpenAI, which by the way is really cool. It was released tonight for Plus users, and so I played with it a little bit because I don't pay for the Pro subscription. $200 per month, a little bit nuts to me. So I started using it. It was quite crazy, but like some of these, like I would be happy paying €1 per report. So you're like AI, I think, since again, this is a little bit of a crazy thought, but I wanna know what you guys think. So write in the chat. I don't know what you think, Helin. Since AI competes with, it does something for you, it creates an output that has economic value for a lot of people. Well, then I think there's this new option of creating business models that are based on output. And there are some companies who do that, by the way. I'm gonna go and find some examples. But first, Helin, I wanna know what you think about this.
I agree. I think what you're saying makes perfect sense. what I'm really interested in seeing while I'm discussing this topic with clients or like thinking of companies who create budgets, right? I think there's also another area which we didn't mention. People don't know how much they would pay for which service. So there's this like, you know, that feeling that you mentioned how the person who was building, who was saying there's no business here because people want to pay $30 a month.
Yeah.
You're saying I would pay $1 per research. So these are also new things that are coming up. So I think one of the challenges here is also understanding how people respond to that, because to me it's not really clear if someone would pay exact same amount for the project that's coming from a marketing agency with people behind or something that's coming from AI. I think it matters where it comes from. I think some people would want to pay less. So there's a lot of different parameters that people need to keep in mind when they're creating this business model as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what people are comfortable with is super important. Look, I'll give you an example with my company with Epiphany. Epiphany, just to a very short description of what we do, but we help the learning and development teams in companies create training for their employees. So at the beginning, we thought about pricing per training, right? Because if you go to an agency, they will price per training, and companies were like, "That's so weird. It's odd." So then I have, every time that I click create new course, you get money. No, I don't like that. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, then we had to price in a different way. We had to have a per license model, and you have a number of courses you can create, right? It gets a little bit more complicated than that. But you touched on a very important point, which is what are people comfortable with? AI, even if it gives you some sort of service, it's still software and people associated with that. John is saying something super interesting where he says, I will pay for a somehow guaranteed outcome. I think this will happen at some point. Like, I mean, honestly, if you had, let me think about what would be a case. Look, there's this company I love. It's called Air Help. If your flight is delayed, if your flight is delayed, you are entitled to a refund, and AirHelp does everything for you. So they, submit the claim and they follow it, and then they just get a part of the claim. So if you should get 300 euros from your airline company, they take 75, right? Imagine an AI agent or an AI thing that does more or less the same thing. What it's like, hey, I want you to whatever submit this claim for me, or I want you to sue this person for me instead of this lawyer, and then the AI thing just get a cut or whatever outcome it has created. I know there's a company that uses AI for clinical trials, and then basically you pay based on how much they sped up the process. It's great. It's outcome based.
I think
But
it makes perfect sense for situations where you don't care about how something is done, you just need the result, right?
yeah,
If it's AI or if it's something else, it doesn't matter that much.
but think about this. This is possible just in an AI world. Because imagine, okay, let's say you have okay, guys, perfect example. I actually kind of love this. Huh. Okay. This is going to be interesting. Okay. Let's say you have a customer relationship management tool, a CRM. Pre-AI, imagine if the CRM asked you, hey, I want a 10% of every sale that you close. What the hell? Like, you did nothing. You just held my data in there. And I made the sale. I keep the money. I just pay you whatever price per month. But now, what if you have a CRM that has an AI sales agent that has conversations for you and he's selling for you? Well, now I'm kind of way more comfortable giving a little cut to this AI thing. Like, say a salesperson takes 10%, I'm going to give 5% to this AI agent if they make a sale.
Well, yeah, that could make people rethink sales commissions, which is usually one of the first cuts as well. Yeah, that's a good example.
But it's weird because would you feel comfortable with it? It feels odd, right? To just give a cut to a freaking AI bot. And by the way, Salesforce does not do it. Let's look at this. So if I share the pricing that they have, their pricing now is this. They have Salesforce Foundation and blah, blah, blah. And then they have Agentforce. $2 per conversation, which is not, it's not per outcome as, who was it? Somebody was saying this in the group. Was it Johnny? I think in the chat. It's not per outcome, it's just per conversation, it's per usage. But I believe, again, this is, guys, in this conversation, there is no answer, by the way. Sorry to disappoint you. We're 50 minutes in. I will tell you that I don't have a solution for what is the best AI business model. It depends, right, on what your business is. But what I wanted to hint at is how much AI could potentially help you change completely the way that you think about pricing, the way that you think about business models. A CRM will never be able to charge you per closed sale. An AI CRM might. What do you think, Helin?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about the sales CRM that's selling and getting commission. No, but I think, yeah, that's. I mean, maybe some people would be willing to pay more on a monthly basis because that is done.
I don't know. I mean,
But it's just an example, right? As you said, it's a good way of showing how you need to really rethink how the whole structure works.
exactly. And this is the message that I wanted to leave people on this webinar, which is AI business models are and can be dramatically different from normal software business models. And what I'm excited about, I'm a little bit weird. I get excited about those things. What I'm excited about is how much AI could potentially enable us to rethink the way that businesses run, the way the businesses price their services, the business models that businesses can have, right? And I think let's just try to summarize what we said so that the message maybe sticks a little bit more in your brain. And then I'll tell you about this new program that is getting started. But don't leave, because spoiler, we're gonna have a little offer for you. Okay, so we talked about the pricing AI models is different for two reasons. The cost structure is different. AI costs more money than normal software to run. And because the value that you give is different from a normal traditional software. All right, these are the two main things. We saw how in the beginning AI was so expensive that the companies had to cap the usage that you could have or be very expensive. Now that effect is it's not there anymore, or to a lesser extent. We also saw how we came up with this term. I came up with this term. AI native companies, non-AI native companies, so companies that existed before the Gen AI era, and AI is something they added on top of their product, how their business model has to be normal pricing and then add a little bit more for AI. Whereas on the other hand, AI native companies can have a complete different strategy. We saw Jasper, how they have a different strategy. We saw how they bundled AI with non-AI features to create more value for their customers. And we also end up thinking AI has a potential to completely reimagine the way the businesses price their services. And we talked about this CRM dilemma. Would you be willing to pay a commission on the work done by an AI agent?
Just to maybe add on to that, you've wrapped it up quite well. I think something that's super crucial that is changing is people don't usually have a general idea of how, let's say, not everyone sits down and thinks about how AI and human interaction is going to change the world. And these are really enjoyable conversations. But at this point of time, that needs to be considered before deciding an AI business model and putting a product out there. You have to also understand how people are going to react. Where is the world going in general? You really can't focus just on the product and the need and the market. It's just not enough. I think that's the main idea that I'm getting.
100%. And isn't it fun that there are new opportunities that are entirely new, that are actually new?
Yeah.
There are new things that you could do that you could never do before AI. I think that's the most fun thing. Anyway, let me tell you, I said that we're 45 minutes in, so 45 minutes of value. Now let me spend 3 minutes giving you value, but in a different way, telling you about the new edition of our program. And we're going to end with an offer for you. So I think you should stick until the very end. I'm going to spend less than 5 minutes. So I hope you're going to spend those 5 minutes with me. So we want you to join the 11th edition of the Generative AI Project Bootcamp. So we've done 11 editions. 10. Actually, the number 10 ends tomorrow. Tomorrow we have the demo day in which students present the projects they've built. So that's exciting. I love that day. But we've done 10. We know how to do this. We've trained more than 200 people and we've done some amazing things. Let me tell you what is the Generative AI Project Bootcamp by telling you how it works. So it works like this. You start on day one. Immediately after you get access, access to the community, 7 on-demand modules with video lessons and practical exercises. But what I'm most excited about, I think the on-demand videos are pretty good. I've rarely seen better videos, but what I'm excited about are these live sessions. After those live sessions, you graduate and get a certificate. Let's get into the detail of those live sessions. So this is the beauty of the bootcamp. You start by identifying a project. We help you with this, by the way. You don't need to get started with something super clear. You can get started with something very vague. Like, I want to do something in AI marketing. We help you identify what the project might be. We help you break it down into steps, and we help you understand something super important, which is what you should automate with AI or augment with AI, and what should you not touch at all. What should you keep in the hands of humans, of yourself, or of your clients if you want to sell this tool. We do a prompting masterclass in which you learn for real what it means to do prompt engineering. A lot of people know how to write good prompts for ChatGPT. If you want to build a project that automates things, it's a whole different set of skills that we will teach you. It's very different, but you can learn this. We had, again, tons of people who learn this, so you can learn it too. Then we help you build an automation. We have a partnership with a no-code tool called make.com. You will not have to write any line of code to do this. We had people who joined this program who were, I think, up to 65 years old, I think was the oldest person who joined, never seen a line of code and was able to build an insane automation connected to like Google Drive, I think they connected OpenAI with Google Drive and Google Docs and a few other things, and like Facebook. It was crazy. No code required. And then the end is the pitch and demo day. So you get to present your project to me and to sometimes we have like guests that can come and give you feedback. This is going to happen tomorrow for the edition number 10. It's freaking cool. I always love it. Can't wait to see what they built. And this is the best thing. For real, I'm not even joking. This is the best thing. We have 8 amazing AI coaches that can give you one-on-one support. The way that it works is that you have a link with all the AI coaches. You can read who they are. You can read who is the coach that it resonates the most with you. Here we have Alessandro, who's an expert in HR, for instance. But we also have Garen, who's an expert in design. So you pick the one that you want to talk to, and you can book a one-to-one call with him or her included in your pricing, basically. Again, we trained more than 200 students. We sold out in less than a week quite a few times. I want to give you an example what kind of stuff you can build, what kind of projects you can build. And I'll take the Alessandro's project as an example. He's one of our favorite students, and that's why he's an AI coach, because he was a student and he was so good that he became a coach. So at 50 years old, he decided to change a little bit his career and go from being an HR professional to an HR professional that uses AI. Okay. And he built this super cool tool called IT Expertise, which was a tool for people who need to recruit people in IT. And you could do a bunch of different things. You could do things like write job description, prepare your interview, analyze an interview. And he actually put it out there so people could use it. It's not something that he built it for himself, other people can use it. And that's why now he manages to have quite a few consulting gigs as an AI consultant, because he can show people, hey, I built this. A few other projects to give you an idea. Imelda built a tool to empower autistic drivers through voice-activated support. I'm super proud of this project. Project to automate 3D sculpting, projects to automate regulatory screening or marketing, lots of different things. So whatever you want to build, you will be able to build it as a result of this program. You can also get the membership. I'm going to tell you how much these things cost in a second. The membership basically means that, there's this challenge with AI. AI changes constantly. And we just saw it today. Keeps changing. So if you buy one edition of the bootcamp, you do it, lasts for 2 months. It's great. But we thought, how can we give people support continuously? And that's what we do through the membership. So if you get the membership for an entire year, you're gonna be able to take as many, let's see, as many bootcamp cohorts as you want. So we do usually 5 per year, and you can take all of them and build 5 different projects, and always maybe explore something else. You have access to all of these programs. By the way, Joelle from our team tells me it's not 5, it's 6. 6 boot camps. I'm sorry. And by the way, amazing, good job, Joelle. I didn't think that we could do 5. We could do 6 per year. But Joelle is our chief operation officer. So if we can do 6, is because of him and every other people as well, obviously. But he makes sure that everything runs. You also get access to these other courses. Yes, there was something in AI before Gen AI, and AI Academy was there, So you also get courses that are not about Gen AI. There's a whole different world outside of Gen AI, but you'll get a link and you can read those things later. This is what I'm the most proud of. You get also the best support in AI education programs ever. You get 10 one-on-one calls with AI coaches, 1 year access to the community, and our knowledge chatbot for real-time support. And a bunch of more stuff, like 3 months of Make.com subscription, blah 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 blah. Honestly, just go on the landing page. you're gonna read all these things. I don't want to read it. It's late, okay? But it's a lot of amazing stuff. Really, I'm so proud of this. People love it, and we have so many people who, would really change their career. We have, I think, quite a few people who became AI consultants. Now, I think what you really want to know is how much it is. So usually it's 1,395 euros per year, the membership. But if you join until, I don't remember, until Sunday, yes, so you have like 3 days to think about it, you're going to have 100 euros of discount, which I think is pretty good, And it's just for people who join this webinar, so we're not going to put this link, I'm not going to put this on LinkedIn, okay? You stay until the end, and I think you deserve a little treat, and that's the treat that we're going to give you. Your company can pay for it, by the way. A lot of our students ask their company to pay for the subscription, which they usually do happily because every company is investing in AI. And so it kind of makes sense that they fund your AI knowledge. So yeah, that's great. And by the way, if you get this now, we're going to lock your price. So if we increase the price, this is going to be the price that you will pay. Okay? Which I think is pretty important. Because we keep adding stuff. And by the way, spoiler! And very soon, I think around May or June, I don't remember, Joella is probably panicking now. We're going to create an agent version of the bootcamp. So a bootcamp specific on building AI agents. I don't know when exactly, because we're still developing. We want to make sure it's perfect and it's not just hype. But if we're probably going to increase the price after, because we're adding this agent part to our bootcamp. So that's why I also think you should get this now, again, so that you save money, not just now, but also later. And if you're part of a company and you want to train your entire team, we do this. So you can reach out to Helin at aiacademy.com. We do custom program for companies. You can see some of the companies we worked with. So if you want to buy more seats, more seats for your company, or let's say 10 people, you want to enroll them, you want to do a private edition, etc., etc., etc. Well, then you can do that. I think that's it. And this is if you want to buy the bootcamp. The bootcamp is 1,095. I think that's what you're seeing, Mike. That's the price in dollars for the bootcamp, just the bootcamp. For the membership is 1,295. Yeah, so maybe, I don't know if Joella, if you can post both links, that would be great so people see the difference. All right, are there any questions for me? I would love to get questions. While you type your questions, actually, Sophia asked, what is the TVA of this price? I have no idea what TVA means. Helin, do you know? Is it total value added?
No, but I'm assuming some sort of tax.
So I looked on the internet and it means the Tennessee Valley Authority.
Well done.
Oh, no, tax on value added. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, there's no tax. So we are a Danish company. And in Denmark, what are called vocational trainings, which are training that help you improve your career, are VAT free. So our business doesn't add VAT on top. Yeah, VAT. Okay, cool. I knew VAT, so when I read TVA, I was like, what is this? Is it something different? There's no VAT because of this amazing thing from the Danish government, which we're very happy about. Yeah, no worries, Sofia. So that's the l'IVA. Grazie. Okay. Imposta sul valore aggiunto in Italian. So the price that you see is all that you have to pay. There's no VAT on top. Amazing. If you have any other questions, you can always write us to info@aiacademy.com. Honestly, I think this is, like, again, I always say this, and I'm obviously biased because it's my company, right? But I'm always so touched by what people do after the training. It's really like, it's amazing how AI is such a new technology that if you spend, 2 months learning it, you can have amazing opportunities right after. Yeah.
I want to actually answer a question that is not asked, but I'm just assuming that some people have this because obviously talking about people about this course and learning AI in general, I come across this really often. Some people think, I want to learn what's going on. I want to learn about AI. I want to understand the tools, but I don't want to build a project. I don't know if I'm at the level where I want to use tools. You learn a language by speaking it, you learn AI by using it, and building a project is not the goal here. Building is where you learn. So if you're having these questions and if you're just considering the course, I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. We're not here for perfection. We're here to make you work on AI.
I'm gonna build a statue of Helen and put it on my desk. No, for real, like, I mean, the reason why we do this is, I mean, some people, because they want to build something, they actually have a project. Again, I made the example of that student who wanted to build a product. But from a pedagogical perspective, this learning science is not my opinion. If you want to learn how to apply something, if you need to reach mastery, which basically means that you can teach others, you can influence others, the only way is by doing something. So if you buy a course that has just content, that cannot, like, from a scientific perspective, it cannot bring you up to a certain point. It can't. Like, it's science. Don't blame me. It's just science. If you want to reach a certain point of proficiency, you need to apply those things. So as Helin said, and that was great, Helin. Thank you for saying that. Even if you don't have a project you want to build, you're like, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to build something. I just want to learn. This is the way that you learn, by building stuff. If you want to get to the high level, obviously, if you just care about knowing the basics, honestly, this is not for you. If you want to be, basic AI user, don't get this. There are a lot of free courses. We have like free courses as well you can go and check out. But if you want to be really on top of stuff, then you should get it. And by the way, I just saw that somebody bought one seat.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I think somebody got convinced, which makes me always very happy. So Ade, thank you, Ade. We're gonna see you. By the way, the next course starts on the 3rd of March, so next week. So if you get this now, you can get started you can start learning and building on Monday. Isn't it cool? Yes. So Mike was saying, would love to hear more about the agents you mentioned. I have a product project I want to develop with N8N. I'm so happy that you said N8N. Fun fact, I don't know how to use N8N. I never used it. But Joelle, who's our COO, has been texting me since like the past couple of weeks. And I was like, John, I love this tool. Look at this agent I built. Joelle built this crazy thing. He built a Telegram agent. I'm so proud of him, for real. I've been talking about this with everybody. This Telegram agent does something insane. Like, he sends a message and he came up with a bunch of use cases. Like, one is if he sends a picture of a receipt, he wants the picture to be put in an Excel sheet where he has all his expenses. If I don't know, Joelle, what other use case he has, but like if he says turn on the light, it wants you to turn on the light. So he has a bunch of different things. And he built the whole thing himself. Joelle doesn't know how to write a single line of code. Joelle, I saw when you try to write code, it sucks. Okay? So don't do that. So he used N8N to do the whole thing. Calendar management. So he creates events on the calendar. He was just texting me now, so I see the chat. So he built it all by himself. That's the kind of stuff that you can build with this bootcamp. And Joelle learned by basically absorbing the bootcamp, by doing that, which is amazing. And that's another thing that I wanted to say. The reason why we teach these things is because we actually do them. Like, would you, I don't know, would you go and do fitness from somebody who's not in shape? It's kind of weird. So at AI Academy, we have so many automations that we built. And that's why, because we know how to do this. Amazing, guys. I'm gonna tell you goodbye. Check out the links and spend some time reading about it. I highly recommend you seriously consider this, because again, we're starting next Monday. So this could be a great, opportunity for you to get started. All right. And thank you to, I don't know your name, Ave, I think. Thank you, Ave, for the trust and for immediately getting this. Can't wait to see you on Monday and to see what you're gonna build. And everybody else, I hope you're gonna follow. you're gonna join as well. Thank you all.
Thank you.